Hello and welcome to the Orlando World Sunday Showdown round of 64. This week's video takes an unexpected twist, due to the current 2020 worldwide health pandemic. One attraction this week, which was due to open a few weeks before the airing of this video, but with the closure of the theme parks, as of the timing of this video release, it hadn't done so. So, we have managed to compile some confirmed data, to allow the ride to keep its place in the competition. So this week, we see SeaWorld's Icebreaker roller coaster go head-to-head with Hollywood Studios' The Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. Icebreaker is SeaWorld's newest roller coaster, and its first multi-launch coaster. Named after the icy Arctic summits, Icebreaker will feature 4 airtime-filled launches, both backwards and forwards, culminating in a reverse launch into the steepest beyond vertical drop in Florida, a 93 feet tall spike with 100-degree angle. The thrills continue as riders fly over a near vertical top hat maneuver into a series of exciting twists, turns, and airtime hills. The brand new coaster will be located across from Wild Arctic and will hopefully open soon. Icebreaker will be a family-friendly coaster, which will be very similar to the likes of Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure or the Slinky Dog Dash coasters in terms of thrills and pace. It will feature similar elements to that of Tigris at Busch Gardens with both forward and reverse movements on the track. It looks like it will pack a punch for younger riders, while offering just enough to thrill adults too. Twilight Zone Tower of Terror is a dark tower drop ride located at Disney's Hollywood Studios. It opened on the 22nd of July, 1994 at a cost of over $140 million. Guests head inside the infamous Hollywood Tower Hotel and find a dusty lobby frozen in time. Even the subdued hotel staff seems strangely out of another era. Suddenly a television set springs to life and Rod Serling welcomes you on a journey into the Twilight Zone. He reveals that on a gloomy Halloween night in 1939, some hotel patrons were riding the elevator when a violent storm struck the building, and they were never seen again. The hotel closed down and has stood empty ever since. The ride enters the rickety, elevator-style lift, where you prepare yourself to discover what lies beyond the darkest corner of your imagination. Shriek in terror as you're suddenly propelled up and down the abandoned shaft, unexpectedly dropping and rising as you hear the sound of cables snapping and metal clanging overhead. This attraction is based on the popular television series which originally aired from 1959 to 1964, created, hosted and written by Rod Serling. The award-winning show with its imaginative storylines and unexpected twist endings was wildly successful. Tower of Terror uses a unique ride system, and some very clever use of forced perspective, drawing you into a frightening world inside the iconic haunted tower. Now let's head into round 1 of this week's competition. Icebreaker is rumoured to be a fairly short roller coaster ride. It has 1,900 feet of track, but covers over 2,700 feet in distance with its forward and backward movements over the track. Being similar to Tigris, the ride time will be fairly short, and is expected to last approximately just over 1.5 minutes. But throughout that fairly short time, riders can expect a decent run, with a 100-degree spike, and the thrill of travelling in both directions during the launch sections at pace, with a nice twisty course. The ride should give enough of an impact to make the short journey round the track worth it. It does appear to be a fair bit shorter than other family-friendly coasters, but being a unique track ride will make it just as exciting as the longer ones. Tower of Terror offers around 10 minutes of overall ride experience, but for the main tower attraction, the ride duration clocks in at approximately 5 minutes. The ride uses a unique system, where the elevator ride moves in and out of the lift shaft, looking at various forced perspective scenes, before spending a couple of minutes belting up and down the elevator shaft, jerking and jolting riders at unexpected intervals. Tower of Terror lasts just long enough to give riders the thrill for the drops, but offers a good balance between the thrill section and the theme sections of the ride. It doesn't pass too quickly, and makes extremely good use of its overall ride time. So in round 1, it's an easy first point to the Hollywood Studios attraction as we move into round 2. Icebreaker would have a fairly low ride capacity. Given that the track has no fully rotational start and end point, the ride uses a separate loading platform, which will lock into the track, allowing 2 trains to be on the track at any one time. Meaning that the ride will in theory be able to accommodate just 720 riders in 1 hour. Although the roller coaster capacity will be fairly low, it is expected that further theming to the area, and with some added exhibits before and after the ride, it may be able to accommodate more people in future. However, with the park attendances being fairly reasonable, the ride wait times, even for Icebreaker, should be reasonably manageable. Tower of Terror uses a similar type of loading system, although the ride does this in a vertical rather than horizontal manner, with the loading and unloading of the elevator shaft. The ride does however have some internal scenes which are accessed briefly through some corridors, which raises the capacity, as riders use both areas simultaneously, raising the capacity. Tower of Terror is capable of accommodating up to 1,800 riders per hour throughout the attraction. Which in this round, means that again, Tower of Terror takes the point, as it has a much larger capacity than Icebreaker. Let's move ahead now to round 3. Icebreaker is a family roller coaster, but rather surprisingly it will appear to travel at a fairly fast pace. It is most likely to travel at a fairly even pace of around 40 miles per hour on average, but has launch sections which will take its top speed up to 52 miles per hour, which is faster than both Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure and Slinky Dog Dash. Although the Harry Potter ride has a typically faster average ride speed, for younger riders this may be a little bit more intense than Slinky Dog Dash, but may be very similar to the Harry Potter attraction in terms of overall feel. Icebreaker looks to be fairly powerful for a family-friendly ride, and will offer a little more excitement than that of the more traditional family coasters. Tower of Terror is a fairly tame ride experience in comparison to Icebreaker, as there are no twists or turns or multiple launch segments. But the ride does have the multiple drop tower, bringing free-fall elements, giving riders a much different style of ride. Surprisingly, the drop speed reached a fairly pacey 39 miles per hour, which feels much more violent and faster due to its very high drops. Its drop speed makes the likes of Doctor Doom's Fearfall seem like a static tower ride rather than a drop ride, so it packs a punch. However, its speed doesn't match the SeaWorld coaster. So in the third round, the Icebreaker coaster pulls a point back, heading into round 4. Icebreaker isn't a particularly high roller coaster ride. It is very similar in style to Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure, in the sense it is built as a family-friendly attraction. It will be a bit more intense than Slinky Dog Dash and the likes of Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, as it travels faster, and features a much higher drop than other family-oriented rides. Others in this category have drops of around 50 feet, where Icebreaker ramped this up a bit, with a top drop height of 93 feet, meaning it is a considerably higher drop than other similar rides. The drop isn't the steepest in terms of angles, as it has a near 70-degree drop, but the height is almost twice as high as the Harry Potter ride drop and 4 times that of Slinky Dog Dash. So for a family coaster, the drop is well above the average height. Tower of Terror is located within the highest building structure at any Disney park, although it is only the second highest structure within any Disney park, being just 1/2 foot shorter in height to that of Expedition Everest at Animal Kingdom. The ride has a full drop height of 130 feet, where the lift inside the elevator shaft drops at various increments throughout the 130-foot tall drop. So in the penultimate round, for drop height, it's a point for the Hollywood Studios attraction, as we now head into the 5th and final round. For thrill factor, due to the inability to test or review the ride, Icebreaker's thrill factor can't fairly be accounted for in this round. However, looking at other rides with similar launch systems, ride layout and other criteria, we think the ride will be fairly thrilling, particularly for the younger guests who are looking to take their next step up to one of the so-called bigger coasters. It looks like it will be fairly fast at points, and offers a decent amount of launch sections, along with a varied track, with a dual directions, in the high drop section. Thrill value will be high, but still fairly tame so that it can be enjoyed by all guests, as it aims to be less of a frightening coaster and looks to offer more of rush rather than steep vertical drops and inversions. Icebreaker looks fun, and we hope it will live up to its expectation once it opens eventually when the parks are really open. Tower of Terror, for thrill factor relies mostly on its drop segments, and the show scenes before the tower drop are more of a slideshow of forced perspective trickery and don't as such add a fear element to the ride. It's when the elevator shaft begins its erratic and unpredictable rally at various levels throughout the tower's fearful heights that the ride really comes into its own. It's faster than a real gravity fall, uses immense power to shift the elevators at a fair pace, and gives riders a heightened sense of fear and drama, given the unexpected and random nature of the drop section. It means that each ride you take will most likely be different from previous times, making the ride value a bit higher, and lifting the thrill level as you never know what to expect each time you ride it. So in the fifth and final round, we think the Tower of Terror attraction just might edge ahead in terms of being a bit more thrilling, mostly through fear factor. Which means, looking at this week's results, it does mean we have a clear winner. Which does unfortunately mean that the new Icebreaker coaster sadly drops out of the competition before it's had its chance to shine in the real world, but we are sure that this ride will surpass expectations, and be a huge hit for families. We can't wait to ride it when it eventually opens. The Twilight Zone Tower of Terror advances to the next round. Join us for next week's exciting episode, when we take a look at former Universal Studios attraction, Confrontation, as it goes into battle against Busch Gardens Coaster Cobra's Curse. See you next week. We hope you enjoy this video. Please support us by subscribing to our channel. You can find us on social media platforms. Find us on Facebook and Twitter at Orlando Worlds, and on Instagram at the Orlando Worlds. Thanks for watching.